Hello, beautiful people of the internet. How are you doing today? My name is Jackie and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is going to be the start of another novel writing vlog, or more specifically, a novel editing vlog. I recently finished draft 1 of my original novel, which I have nicknamed Project Mayfair, and I'm going to get started on the editing and revising process. I said in my last vlog that I was going to try to stay away from the project for a month. Clearly that did not happen. It's been, what, a little under 2 weeks? Do as I say, not as I do. But I've just been really excited about this and I've been thinking about it a lot. And also, it's been a long time since I wrote the early chapters, so I do feel like I can go back and look at those and still be a bit impartial because there is that distance between those chapters. I mean, I started this during the summer, so I have had a lot of time away from those chapters, and I haven't reread the opening chapters in months. So I do feel like I can edit and revise those with a certain degree of impartiality, as much impartiality as you can ever have to your own work anyway. I have never edited or revised a novel before. This is my first time ever writing a novel where I've ever actually completed a first draft. So this is new territory for me, but advice that I've seen all over AuthorTube is that you should go in with a revision plan, and that is what I'm trying to do. As I mentioned in my previous vlogs, I changed my mind about the identity of the big bad in this murder mystery in the middle of draft 1. So I know there's a lot of stuff I have to change, and I have started making a checklist. I broke my revision plan checklist down into different sections. First, characterization. There are certain traits of my hero and heroine that I want to emphasize a bit more in this draft 2, and also I want to fully flesh out the side characters / suspects a little bit more to give them much sharper, more distinct personalities. And some of the characters, they just kind of exerted a will of their own as I was drafting, so I really just want to make their personalities tighter and more distinct. Then the next section on my checklist is clues. I'm writing a murder mystery, and since I changed my mind in the middle of the draft, a lot of the clues have to be changed or just slightly altered to point towards this new ending. So that is the next part of my revising plan. The good thing is, I think a lot of the clues that I put in draft 1, even back when I was originally planning to make the killer a different person, they can still work if I just tweak them slightly. So it's not like I'm going to have to rewrite large portions of the draft or anything like that. Then I also have a section that I'm calling foreshadowing. So these are not so much tangible clues, but just instances of foreshadowing that I want to put in to now point to this different person. Again, a lot of it is just repurposed from my original idea. So if say in draft 1, character X was meant to be the killer and I mentioned them doing a certain thing as foreshadowing, and now the killer is character Y, I'm just gonna have character Y do the thing that in draft 1 character X was doing, since character Y is now the murderer instead of character X. You see what I'm saying? And finally, I also have a section entitled questions, which is things that I'm still working out in my mind and that I want to be thinking about as I start editing draft 2. So there are some things that I'm still trying to make my mind up on, but by having these questions on the checklist, I can just make sure they're addressed at some point in the editing process. So that's it for my intro. Like I said, I also do want to get my word count a bit in this draft, but I am not going to go crazy cutting out huge parts unless I just know that they're not going to work or I don't want to go in that direction anymore. I'm more so just going to be paying attention on a sentence by sentence level to pay attention to places where I might have been too wordy and alter those a bit. I think that's enough for this intro, and I will talk to you all a little bit later. This is a very exciting time and also uncharted territory for me. Hello, hello, hello. So this is how the editing and revising is going so far. I have so far cut out 559 words from my novel so far, which is pretty good. At this point, I'm just kind of rereading the chapters. I've made it through the first 12 chapters, and I'm working on the major revisions that I need for the new ending. And I'm also, just as I'm rereading what I wrote, thinking about words that can be cut or how sentences could be rephrased. I'm not being extremely critical at this point in time, but I am trying to think about how I can make the writing a bit sharper. I do think that one of my problems is sometimes I overwrite. I think sometimes I am too wordy. I mean, in my personal, just everyday to-day life, I do have a tendency to ramble. And I do think sometimes when I'm writing, I write a little bit too much because I'm worried about not writing enough. But now that I'm going back and rereading this, I can recognize some parts where I used many words to say something that I could have said in fewer words. So I have been rewriting some of my sentences just to make them clearer and more concise. I also noticed that I did not use that many contractions while I was writing. And I think maybe the reason why I did that is because I am writing a historical novel, and so I was trying to get that more formal sound in the writing. However, I do think I can use contractions more often. So in the paragraphs where it is just the narrator speaking, not a character's dialogue, I have been changing all of those did nots to didn't, things like that. And then I have kept some of the fully written out forms in character dialogue, but depending on the context, I did sometimes change those to also be contractions. So there is still some of that historic, formal sounding dialogue, but I also, at the same time, don't want to never use a contraction in the entire novel, because people in the past did use contractions still. That's why I'm just kind of looking at the context of the sentence with characters' dialogue to decide what I think would be best. And so even just being more critical about that has helped me with the word count a little bit. Currently, I am listening back to the chapters that I wrote. I've just been using the read aloud feature on Microsoft Word, which is helping me hear the text out loud. The voice does not at all sound like a real person. It sounds very automated, but I do think it is really helpful to hear what you wrote, because I think that helps you understand what works and what doesn't a lot better than when you just read it physically with your own two eyes. I think listening to someone say it helps you determine, okay, does this have the right flow that I want? Does this dialogue actually sound like real human speech? So this is something I would definitely recommend to people out there who are working on their writing. I think using some kind of read aloud feature or reading what you wrote out loud to yourself, really a game changer. It does help me, especially when there's a paragraph or a line of dialogue where I'm not sure if it works or not. I find that listening to it aloud really gives me that clarity about, okay, this is good, or okay, I want to change this. I don't know if I have the best editing and revising strategy. I'm just doing what feels natural to me, and I'm working on both sentence edits and larger revisions at the same time. Just as I am reading through, I am changing the parts that I need to change for the cohesion of the plot. And also, if I notice things on a sentence level, I am changing those as well. I don't know if this is the best strategy, but it just is what feels natural to me at this point, so I'm just following my instincts. I do have that revision plan that I created, and I am checking things off when I accomplish those items on my to-do list.
Hello, it's been a while since I updated the vlog. It's nighttime, so sorry if the lighting is not great. I'm also not quite sure what my hair is doing today. Hopefully it looks cute. Now there's a plane going overhead. This clip is a mess. I am not really sure how many words I've shaved off the draft at this point, because after I last updated you, I did end up adding 2 additional paragraphs But I have been making some sentence by sentence edits, and I think that has been really helpful. I do think I have a tendency to be too wordy, so I think it has been good in this editing process just to be a bit more mindful of it and looking out for ways I could express the same thought in a more clear and concise way at times. So just paying more attention to my verbiage, using that when I didn't need to use that, when the sentence has the exact same meaning without the word that, and also paying a bit attention to adverbs, because I am not 100% anti-adverb. I don't think you need to delete all of them, but just be a little more critical examining it, look at the sentence and be like, does it really need this word for the sentence to have its full impact, or is it equally as good without its unnecessary word? And so far, I've gone through at least 15 chapters out of the 40 chapters in the draft. 40 chapters and an epilogue is, I believe, the total in draft 1. So I've gone through at least 15 chapters, maybe more, I don't remember, both to make sentence edits and also make larger plot edits in accordance with the new ending. That is it for this update. I don't know how much more editing I'm going to get done this week. I am going to Key West this weekend for my birthday, so I am going to wrap up the vlog before then so I can edit it and schedule it out. I am going to try to keep my head turned this way because I have a really big breakout on my face. It's very red, very large, and it's just not cute. But the good news is I had like a breakthrough moment. So as I mentioned many times before, in the middle of draft 1 of this book, I changed my mind about who the murderer was going to be in the end. The good news is I think most of the things that I had planned out still work with the new ending, but there was one thing that was giving me a lot of trouble because there was basically going to be a piece of evidence that was going to help our sleuths figure out who the murderer is. And so this piece of evidence that was going to help a character put everything together, it didn't translate to the new ending because this piece of evidence was very closely tied to the original killer, who was obviously not the killer anymore. You understand what I'm saying? It would be like, I don't know, I'm just making this up. This is not what it was. But let's just say that in the original draft, the killer was a woman and the character was going to figure out that they were the killer because they find evidence that indicates the killer wore the exact same shade of lipstick that she did. But now the killer is a man who does not wear a lipstick, therefore the reveal can't be the same. That's not what it was. I'm just trying to make up a fictional example so you understand what I'm trying to say here. Also, the lights just flickered. I think this ceiling light in my room is about to burn out because it has been very weird lately. So I'm sorry that this clip is so unprofessional and off the rails. Anyways, hopefully you understand what I'm saying. So I was having trouble because I was trying to think, how can the character figure out who the killer is and be onto them? Like, what new evidence can I put in place of the old evidence that doesn't work anymore? And I was talking through scenarios just with my mother very casually, and thank God for her, because something that she said just made me have a light bulb moment. Everything clicked to place in my mind, and I was like, okay, this is what I can do to have everything work out with this new ending. So, if you're ever really just struggling with something in relation to writing, having someone to talk it out with is really great. So thanks, Mom. Another thing I was kind of worried about was I was kind of worried that the plot of the book relies a bit too much on coincidence. But upon further reflection, I feel like with adequate suspension of disbelief, it's fine. I can think of so many other mysteries I've read or watched and really enjoyed where coincidence is employed, and I feel like the coincidence in my book is not so extreme that the reader can't suspend their disbelief. I just recently read The Murder of Mr. Wickham, another historical mystery like mine, and you totally have to suspend your disbelief there because
Mr. Wickham shows up at this house with these people who, many of whom have never met before tonight, but it just so happens that every single one of the people at this party has met Mr. Wickham before and has a motive for potentially murdering him. Like, that's a coincidence, right? But when you're reading a mystery, I think you just have to accept a certain degree of coincidence for the plot conventions. I mean, have you ever watched a show or read a book where the two sleuths are working on two separate cases, which of course then end up being connected? I mean, realistically, what are the odds of that? These are just things that we have to accept with the work of fiction. So I feel like the amount of coincidence in my book is not too extreme. I feel like it's not any different than any of these other examples, so I don't think it's gonna cause a major problem. I mean, maybe there would be somebody out there, I'm sure, who's like, this is too much of a coincidence, but like, you can't please anyone. And I feel like I can think of so many other examples in the mystery genre who have a certain degree of coincidence, so I think it's okay. So maybe I will work on a little more editing tomorrow. I really didn't do anything today, but I would like to maybe edit a couple more chapters tomorrow and then provide you with a final update. I'm going away this weekend, so obviously I will not be working on it while I am away. Hello everyone. So this is going to be a quick outro to this novel editing vlog. After work today, I'm going to be off to Key West and I have some things I need to get done both professionally and in terms of packing before I go. So I'm going to make this quick. I am currently on editing chapter 20 of the manuscript, so like halfway through already. However, I do need to listen back to chapters 19 and 20. I did go through them, but I want to have the read aloud feature on Microsoft Word read them out to me just to confirm I didn't miss anything. So like, I'm on chapter 20. I wouldn't say I'm done editing chapter 20 yet. There's still more work that I want to do on 19 and 20 before I move on to further chapters. So that's pretty much it, I guess. I think using the read aloud feature is something that really works for me personally, so I would recommend trying it out if you need help with your writing or editing. I will be back with another writing vlog sometime in March, most likely, and I think in that vlog, I'm going to cautiously say that in that vlog, I want to reveal a little bit more about what my manuscript is about. I'm a little bit superstitious about it, to be honest. I don't want to put too much out into the universe, but also I know I've been very tight-lipped with information so far, so I kind of want to share a little bit. If any of you have any questions about the manuscript, about my process that you would like me to answer in the next vlog, do leave those questions down below. Maybe we can do a quick like Q&A session in the next vlog if that's something you would be interested in. Also, do let me know if you have any ideas for writing related content you would like to see in the future. I think I would like to make more writing related videos because that's just been such a big part of my life recently. However, I never really want to give people advice about writing because I have not published a novel yet, so I kind of feel like, who am I to tell people what to do? But if there are any ideas you have of writing related content you would like to see from me, any questions you would like me to answer, do let me know in the comment section and I will respond to you. I think that's it for this vlog, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more from me. I post new videos every Wednesday and Sunday. My social media links are down below if you want to follow me on Tumblr, Instagram, or be my friend on Goodreads. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Bye, and I hope to see you in the next video.